Good morning, everyone, and welcome to For Advisors Only, How to Be an Effective Advisor in the Time of COVID-19. Today's webinar is presented by Tracey Wyant, the project specialist with the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. Today is Tuesday, July 28th. 2020. The Alliance is proud to be an initiative of the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities. As a reminder, all attendees are in listen-only mode. If you wish to communicate with myself, Christine Beck, the facilitator, or with our presenter, Tracey Wyant, just use your control panel and type in your question, comment, or contribution. There will also be a couple opportunities for you to take a poll. So make sure that your mouse is ready to select the option that best fits you and your experience. Also, this webinar is being recorded and it will be sent out to all advisors, and it will also be placed on the Alliance's website for your viewing pleasure 24/7. So a little bit about the Alliance, who we are. The Alliance is a network of advocates and self-advocacy groups around Illinois. And the image on the screen is a picture of 15 people. Some are standing and some are sitting, and all of them are holding white pieces of paper. And the white pieces of paper they're holding are their certificates for successfully completing the Alliance's Ambassador Leadership Training Program. And this picture was taken in October of 2019. So the vision of the Alliance is for self-advocates to work together to get the support we need and to live the life we want in the community. And our mission is to speak up for ourselves and each other while working together to make changes in our communities and in Illinois. Our focus is on empowering people to speak up about what they want and need, which is always so important. And equally important is what they don't want and don't need. We want to empower people to action plan their goals and to participate in advocacy, whether it's at the personal, agency, community, or statewide levels. And so what do? The Alliance does a lot of things. We support local groups, we work together on important issues, and we offer networking, advocacy, and learning opportunities through our monthly newsletters, our webinars, the Alliance Ambassador Leadership Program, and our Training Institute. And the image, let me go back. And the image on the screen is a person with pink skin, short brown hair, wearing glasses and holding papers. And I had skipped forward, and so you saw a sneak preview of this next slide. So where is the Alliance at? Well, we are just about everywhere. We currently have 37 member groups, and our goal is to have 40. And so we're working on gathering up those final member groups, but of course we can go over 40. And so where are our groups located? Again, all over. In the northern part of Illinois, we have groups in McHenry, Dixon, Zion, Chicago, and the surrounding areas are well represented with groups in Alsop, Aurora, Brookfield, the city of Chicago, Chicago Heights, Elgin, Evanston, Evergreen Park, Hanover Park, Homewood, Mount Prospect, Rolling Meadows, and Westmont. In the central part of the state, we're excited to have groups in Rock Island, Pontiac, Galesburg, Tremont, Bloomington, Beardstown, Jacksonville, Decatur, and Monticello. And in the southern part of the state, we have groups in Alton, Edwardsville, Mattoon, Charleston, and Paris. And as I'm fond of saying, no matter where you live, no matter where you work, no matter where you play, chances are there is a self-advocacy group or a self-advocate near you. And with that, I would like you to meet our presenter. Tracey, take it away.
Hey guys, I'm so glad you guys are all able to join us today. As you can tell, we picked out a picture of me in my puffer vest. I enjoy a good puffer vest. I can't wait for puffer vest season to begin again. So we thought, since it's been so hot and just so muggy, we're going to have our own Christmas in July. So I picked out that picture of me with my puffer vest, holding my little whiskey barrel with all my little, I guess you call it flowers or evergreens and pine cones in it, because I love shopping and I am so ready for puffer vest season. So my name, Christine mentioned, my name is Tracey Wyant, and we have advocacy groups all over the state of Illinois. And I get the amazing opportunity to support advocacy groups in the central and southern part of Illinois. So with this wonderful little crisis we had that we call COVID-19, it's really had to change up some things. And so that's what we're here to talk about today. So let's get started, guys. All right, so as advisors and allies, we have always been told when we start this job that you've got to be flexible, you've got to go with the flow. Well, guys, this is a whole new kind of yoga. I mean, oh my goodness, we are like bent up like pretzels trying to find a whole bunch of solutions to problems that we've never had to face before. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little quick poll here. So using your chat box, I'm going to ask you guys the questions. Have you connected with your self-advocates since mid-March of 2020? So if you would, go over there and just click on which one. If you've been able to, either been able to connect with them over the phone, or maybe you guys are actually using like Zoom and GoToMeetings and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you haven't been able to see them at all. Haven't been able to have any contact with them. You're not working with them in the group home or anything. So we'll give you just a few minutes here to kind of get our answers and see if you guys, where we're all at. Because I feel like everybody is kind of over the page. Some have, some haven't. Oh my goodness. Is that a 100% yes?
This is Christine, and it is 100% yes.
That's
fantastic.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I'm so excited, because then maybe I'm going to learn some maybe new ways that you guys have been doing it, that you guys can help me as well. Okay, so let's move along to the next one. All right. So how and what could our advocacy meetings look like? Back in the good old days, we all had like a little routine we could possibly handle, but we had it all usually on the same day. We had our advocacy meetings on the same time, basically. But now we've got to create a whole new routine. So go ahead and we'll look the next. So the next one is, it's really important when we talk about how we're going to reach out to our advocacy groups, we need to look at the technology that we have, and it's important to choose the right technology to be able to reach out to keep our advocates and our advocacy groups connected. So some of the things that I'm going to touch on today, and you guys may have way, way better suggestions than this, but everybody knows that I'm allergic to technology. So these are some of the ones that I've known that I've been able to use and have been really user friendly. So I figure with me being allergic to technology, if I can do it, chances are you guys are not going to have too much of a trouble with it at all. So let's go ahead and let's look. We've got Zoom, GoToMeeting, Skype, Google Hangout, Google Meet, and Facebook Live. So let's go ahead and look at Zoom. So Zoom, all right. So It can be, it's a web-based video conference tool that can be used on computer, tablets, or mobile phones. So Zoom is pretty much accessible to everybody because you can use it with a video or you can just use audio as well. Zoom offers full-featured basic plans for free with unlimited meetings. But now your basic plan allows for 40-minute time limits for your meetings that are free with 3 or more people, and you can share your screen. Now, if your meeting needs to go over 40 minutes or so, then they have they'll kick you off, you'll have to log back on, or you do have options to purchase their plans. And if I remember, the plans aren't too terribly expensive, but you can get by with it being free by just limiting your meetings to 40 minutes. And I personally like Zoom. I think it's easy, I think it's user-friendly, and it's that favorite 4-letter word that I like to use, free. And it's able and available to a lot of people. So I kind of prefer Zoom, and it's really become popular since our little COVID crisis. So I enjoy that. And you also have the option to record your meetings with Zoom. You can either do it, manually or automatically, and you're able to share your screen as well. So the next one we've got is our GoToMeeting app. And GoToMeeting, I like this one a lot too. It's easy, it's flexible, and it's that 4-letter word again, free. And it can be used from any browser as well as mobile devices. iPads, tablets, Androids, all of them work very well with this. And it can be used with or without a camera, which is an option to be able to also have as well. And really, to use it is pretty friendly. You just download the app, and then they'll pop up, and you'll have to plan the meeting on the app calendar, and then you can just send it out through email to everybody. And so all the people who receive it through email, all they have to do is just click on that link. And it also gives you the option to call in as well. So it works really well. I enjoy that too. And you can also use it to record your meetings, and you can share your screen, and you can type in the chat box to answer questions and stuff. Now, I did look it up, and it says that it does cost after a 14-day free trial, but it's not very expensive. It was like $12 a month, I believe, when I looked it up as far as the different plans. And so then moving on to our next one is the Google Hangout. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've only done this one once. And it worked pretty well, Some people were telling me that to be able to use this, that it requires a very stable and a relatively high bandwidth. So you've got to have a really good internet connection. And some people have said that the video quality just isn't as good as others, but it is free as well. And it does allow for your video and audio, and it's available on your mobile apps, like your phones, your iPhones, your Androids, or any of your tablets, computers, or anything like that as well. All right. So the next one is Skype, and Skype is a really user-friendly one too, and it can be used like with the video and the voice. It's great for one-to-one, and you can use it for group calls as well. And it too is free. But if you have, I did look this up too. I've used Skype before, and I always used it with another person who had Skype as well. But it says, I looked it up, and it said one of the downfalls that they have is to call a mobile phone or a landline through Skype requires Skype credit or subscription. So I don't know how that would work for like all of your advocates, whether or not they all have that or what that would do. So I would look into that one pretty hard before I would do it. But it is free for up to 50 callers, and just about any mobile device, tablet, or computer can handle Skype. So we got Google Meets. The Google Meet, it is, you can have an unlimited number of meetings, up to 100 participants. It does have the live captioning, and it does have that screen sharing with participants as well, and it is free. It is free too. I do believe though that this one with Google Meets that you have to have another Google account user. So for example, if someone else has got, you're wanting to Google Meet with somebody else and they don't have a Google account, then they may not be able to do that. From what I'm understanding, I could be wrong about that. I know that we've got some people that are on that are way more smarter when it comes to the Google Meet and Google Hangout than I am. So feel free to chime in, guys, if I have made a mistake on that one for sure. And of course, it's that 4-letter word again, F-R-E-E, free. All right, then you got Facebook Live. Now this one is kind of tricky, you know, because I know a lot of agencies and a lot of organizations have really strict policies when it comes to Facebook and being able to have individuals that maybe you serve to be Facebook friends with and things like that. So this one, I mean, it is an option for some people, but I would definitely check out what your agency's rules and policies are before I would do it. The broadcast, conversation, a performance, or a virtual event. You can go live on a page in a group event. You know, there's live videos that will also appear in people's news feed. It is free, but you may need some additional software to really make it be what you want it to be. All right. And our next one. So speak up and speak out. Now's your time, guys. I'm just curious, have you guys, since I have 100% people who have actually been in touch with their advocates, I want to know what platforms that you guys have used. Have you used Zoom? Have you used GoToMeeting? Have you used Skype? Maybe you've done the Google Hangout, Google Meets, or maybe you've gone to Facebook Live. Could you guys do me a favor and just pick maybe one or two of the ones that you guys have used?
All right, and while folks are voting, I supposed another way that people could have met is good old-fashioned telephone. We didn't put that as an option, but 100% of you have voted, and I will go ahead and close that poll and hear the results.
All right, what do we got? Okay, so we got 67% have used Zoom. So Zoom is definitely the winner here, but we have 33% of you guys have done a GoToMeeting. 50% have done Skype. And 50% have done the Google Hangout or Google Meet. So I'm interested about that one because I honestly am not very familiar with that one. And I was curious how that one has worked for a lot of you guys. I've done the Zoom for sure. And that's the one I like between Zoom and GoToMeetings. But, well, I'm really impressed. And no one's done the Facebook Live, which is good to know too. All right, so when you run these virtual meetings, they can be kind of tricky. So when you get ready to do your virtual meeting, it's really kind of important to ask yourself these questions before you start. For example, one of the questions should be, who should attend? You're not going to want to invite, you know, everybody in the workshop, obviously, or you don't want all your advocates to say, hey, come join me. You know, we're going to if they're not involved in an advocacy group to jump in on too, then you're going to have way too many people. So think about who should attend, and maybe this is just an officer meeting that you need to have, you know, so figure that out as well. Actually, what exactly do we need to discuss and estimate how much time each item will take? You know, try to be as realistic as you can and to know exactly what you need to talk about and keeping it on track and exactly how long you're going to get. So for example, like Zoom is only a 40-minute meeting, you know, and as we know that sometimes our advocacy meetings can, if there's a lot to talk about, can get really off topic and can really last a long time. So it's really important for you as the facilitator to have an agenda planned out and know exactly what you want to talk about and give a time limit for each topic. And then you're going to ask people to join about 5 minutes before the meeting to work out any technical problems that they might be having. You know, I'd say anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes before the meeting. Actually, you're always going to have someone that maybe it's not working quite right, their internet's not working, or maybe they can't find it in their email. You know, and I'm sure that Tara and Christine have never experienced anything like that with our meetings. AK, it's usually me who's always saying, oh my gosh, I can't find it in my email. But so you might want to have people start trying to get on 5 to 10 minutes before. And then another thing that's kind of important is consider everyone's schedule. You may want to meet at a later time in the day or on a completely different day than you're used to meeting. That is kind of one of the plus sides with, you know, doing virtual. I actually have some advocacy groups that meet in the evening. They start at 7 o'clock and they do it all, you know, through Zoom, but at 7 o'clock everybody's home from work, and, you know, it kind of works great for their schedule. Or you could, you know, start it earlier in the morning or whatever works. But that is one good plus about doing it virtual. We can be a little bit more flexible with time, and we don't have to worry about transportation, everybody getting to the meeting place and everybody getting home from the meeting place. So, but that's just some questions to ask yourself. So what do we got next? The to-do list. Everybody loves a good to-do list, right? Well, on this to-do list, we've got several days before the event, send out details and login information. You know, our Christine and Tara and all them are great about, they send it out and then they'll actually send out a reminder, you know, and then actually on the day, sometimes they'll send out and say, you know, the meeting's going to start in an hour, or, you know, and that is really helpful as well, because it can really help give people a lot of reminders as well. So several days before the event, send out the details and the login information. Include the agendas. This is really helpful too, because then people can kind of look over the agenda ahead of time and know if there's any questions that they want to ask, or know that, oh, okay, we're not really going to talk about this topic, so, you know, maybe I can save that for a later date. Also, this is a big one too, is to ask people to mute themselves when they're not speaking. You know, you'd be amazed how many times that we forget that just the background noise of, you know, a TV or of, especially in agencies sometimes, you know, they'll come across the loudspeaker and say that someone's got a call, and you can hear all that, and it makes it really challenging. So ask people to mute themselves when they're not speaking. And what do we got next? How to facilitate it. So it can get tricky. It can really get tricky when you start facilitating these meetings, because a lot of people want to talk, a lot of people want to share, and sometimes people will start talking to other people that they see on the screen, and it can get kind of tricky. So how to facilitate it is, you know, ask people to state their names before speaking. So for example, if, you know, Christine was talking and I had something I wanted to add, I would say, this is Tracey Wyant and I have something to add, or, you know, just make sure that you state your name, and so that way people all know who's talking. And if you're unsure about something, you know, always ask for clarification. You know, for example, say, Sarah, I really like those pictures you have on the bulletin board, but I am concerned that we don't have any room left for the newsletter. So, you know, that's just, you know, getting the clarification as to what they're trying to get across and what you're trying to get across as well. So instead of saying, this is kind of a big one too, instead of saying, who wants to go first? It's better if you kind of facilitate it and say, okay, Tracey, since you're the secretary, you will read us the minutes, and then Billy, you will speak after she is done. That way it kind of helps with the confusion of everybody doing the, oh, talking at once, or nobody saying nothing because everybody's afraid to be the first to go. So when you're facilitating it, I find it to be very helpful to actually call people out by name and letting them know into what order that they're going to speak, and know that they're all going to get a turn. So the downside, yeah, some of the virtual meetings, they are never going to be able to take the place of in-person meetings, but they are a great way to keep everyone connected and to be safe during this time. But of course, virtual meetings, they do have some downsides. So some of the problem solving, right? Some of the downside is finding the time. Many of our advocates will be wanting to work to make up for lost money. And meeting times could either be early in the morning or in the afternoon or early evening. Just try to be as flexible as you can when it comes to finding the time. Because I know that with everything kind of opening back up in this great state of Illinois, a lot of people are still unsure about what that's going to look like. Maybe only a certain amount are going to be able to come back on certain days. So getting everybody to be together at the same time, the same place like it used to be, is probably going to be a huge hurdle for a lot of people. So I would definitely think, problem solving, finding the time, and maybe even asking all your advocates to take a poll. What time's the best time of the day for them? And being understanding that the meeting times could look really different than what they used to be. Another issue, oh goodness, this is a big one, this is huge, is the no access to technology. It's really hard that so many people in this day and age, you think, oh, everybody's got a phone and everybody knows how to use it. And that's not always the case, and not everybody is always able to have access to internet. And there might be, for example, in a group home, there might be a computer, but that computer is for staff only, or it gets very, very tricky when it comes to having access to technology. So here are just some things that we have kind of found, or people have told us about. If you go to the ARC of Illinois Assisted Technology Fund, you would go to their website. There is an application that can be filled out for up to $500. It doesn't need to be paid back at all. And it goes towards technology, whether it be a tablet, whether it be maybe a laptop of some sort. So that's something to think about. If you have some individuals who may not have access to technology at all, like computers or tablets or phones of any kind, check that out, because they do have a technology fund and you apply for it. It's like a grant, and like I said, you do not need to pay it back, and it might be a good option for some people to get their hands on a tablet or some piece of technology. Also, check out your local schools, because a lot of times when schools upgrade their technology, they are either just going to throw away the old, or they're willing to sell it for a very reasonable price. And don't be afraid to ask, because like the worst possible thing they're going to say is no, and you're out nothing. Also, the local Knights of Columbus, I mean, that is a great organization to reach out to. They can be a huge resource for you, because that's basically, they do so much fundraising around for issues for individuals with disabilities, and being able to fund certain things for them. So be sure to ask your local Knights of Columbus, because they may have some money that they're willing to donate. And just like I said again, don't be afraid to ask. The worst that could happen is that you're told no. You'd be surprised. A lot of times people are like, oh yeah, well, we got something in the back. So, it is very, very, it can sometimes be very profitable to just ask. All right, so this is something else I kind of want to know, guys. If you wouldn't mind taking another poll for me, does your agency or organization have technology to connect with self-advocates? So if you would, just think about it for a second. And does your agency or organization have computers, tablets, or a way that to connect with self-advocates? I know some places have like computer labs and they have way more than one computer. Some are just lucky if they get a tablet, and some may have none. So I was just curious with our group here about where they're at, where their agency stands when it comes to technology and being able to connect with self-advocates.
This is Christine, and we've put the poll up, and so far half of you have voted, so the other half might still be thinking about yes or no. Does your agency or organization have the technology to connect with self-advocates? We'll leave this poll up for a couple more seconds before we close it and share the results.
Woohoo, look at that. All right. I'm telling you, these voting turnouts are like, man, these politicians would be jealous of our voting turnouts. We've got 80% of you have said yes, that you do, and 20% have said no, that your agency or organization does not have the technology. So, you know, that's really interesting as well. It shows you that, you know, still some people do not have that resource to be able to connect with their self-advocates, but 80% of you do, so that's pretty good.
And this is Christine again. I'd like to share a comment from one of our advisors who's joining us from the Chicago area. And this is, it's not a yes or no for us. Our advocates that are in our residential facilities have the technology. However, advocates who live in the community do not. So that's a possibility too. Yes. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, that's you know what? I didn't even think to look at it that way, but I was always thinking that it was the opposite, but I'm glad you brought that to my attention, and that's probably very true. Okay, so guys, hang in there. You guys are all rocking it like rock stars, you know, and it can get so stressful sometimes and feel so defeating, but you know, it is all new to all of us. So we just need to be kind to one another and find the humor in it, and don't forget to breathe. That's a big one for me. I'm always like, oh, take a big breath and just breathe. And you know, you may not be able to reach all your advocates right now, but you may only be able to send out the meeting minutes, but at least there is some contact and communication going on. I know that so many with advocates with this horrible COVID thing, they're just longing for connection again. They're longing to see their friends, they're longing to see their favorite staff person, or just to get back to doing work. So, you know, the fact that you're even able to get out there and contact and communicate with them, however that may be, that it means a lot to them. It means a lot to them, and it means a lot to us too, because I know I sure do miss all of them. I really do. And remember that we will get back to the way things were. It may look a little different now, but it won't always be this way. So I've had some people ask me, you know, okay, so what kind of advocacy work? How can my advocacy group actually do advocate work from home? So, you know, here's some things, some suggestions that we've kind of came up with, that you can update your emailing contacts. You know, make sure that you signed up on different organization mailing lists, like the Alliance. For one, we send out our newsletters monthly. And if there's any kind of webinar or any kind of training online that's coming up, you'll be able to have access to that as well. The Arc of Illinois is another really good one. That one is right now is all sending out about like the speak up and speak out information and stuff that'll be happening, and calling for presenters and stuff. So they're a good one to be made sure that you're hooked up with, as well as your local representatives, you know, in your area, who in your district is your representative, and make sure that you guys are actually on their email list, and that way you can receive their newsletters and their updates and what they're doing and where they're standing out on all these issues. So now's a good time to email those people, you know, and to reach out as well. Also, we've got the big election days coming our way, so make sure that people are registered to vote. There are so many tools out there that you can help you to navigate your way through the voting box. I mean, there's a lot of trainings going on. There's a lot of webinars to watch about voting, and it's just a great way to start a good conversation about, making sure that they're registered and knowing who the candidates are. Also, you can just check out the Alliance website and our Facebook page as well. We post every day on our Facebook page, sometimes twice a day, and for all of our webinars and our local trainings that are coming up. So it's a great way to still be able to keep in touch with what's going on. So this is our National Self-Advocacy Zoom meetings, and this has been really good. Every Monday and Thursday, it starts at noon. You can join them on a computer, tablet, or smartphone by going to that link, or you can call that phone number down there, and you have the meeting ID, punch in. And I believe it is Leanne Roth, and I believe she is one of our advocates is Richard Hollenbeck from Decatur. They help facilitate it, and they do National Self-Advocacy Zoom meetings, and it's a great way for advocates to kind of all come together and just check in on one another and talk about certain hot topics that are going on. And that's every Monday and Thursday at noon.
And Tracey, this is Christine again, and I just want to offer a correction. There are a lot of great advocacy meetings going on, but this National Self-Advocacy Zoom meeting is done by SARTAC, Self-Advocacy Resource and Technology Center, and there are folks from the northeastern part of the United States who do this, from Green Mountain Self-Advocates in Vermont. So they're the ones who are doing these, but those weekly WOW meetings that Leanne and Richard do, here they are.
Here they are. I had them flip-flopped. I'm so sorry. I was reading on my notes, but you're right. Okay, thank you so much, Christine, for jumping in there with that. The WOW meetings is what I was talking about earlier. That was what they were held twice a week. But the days and times do change, and the information for that is posted on the Alliance Facebook page as well, and it's sent out through the Learning and Advocacy Opportunity email listserv, and that is facilitated by self-advocates and Leanne Mole, and the topics include self-advocacy, there's voting, there's the COVID-19, there's the protests that are going on, and there's so much more. And so you can join them at that Zoom meeting. And I apologize, guys, I had them flip-flopped, but right, the WOW meetings were what I was talking about earlier, and the national ones by SARC is the one that Christine just told you about. But those are great ways to definitely get connected and be able to kind of get others in talking about a lot of the advocacy issues that are going on right now. Also, we want to put a plug in there for our Speak Up and Speak Out Summit. We have a call for presentations. They're open until August the 1st of 2020. So if there is something that you feel that you would be able to present on, a topic, a conversation, or like a webinar or presentation somehow that you guys have kind of been working on, now would be a good time to throw your ring into the hat and be a presenter for our Speak Up and Speak Out Summit that will be coming up soon. I believe it's in November. I think it starts November 16th, maybe. Don't quote me on that one, but I know it's in November.
And this is Christine again, and I just want to share with everyone, if you haven't heard, or if you've heard some rumblings of rumors, this year's Speak Up and Speak Out is going to be done virtually. So people will be able to attend from the comfort of their own homes or the comfort of their community day service programs. The Speak Up and Speak Out Summit Planning Committee is busy trying to figure out scheduling. So perhaps it's not going to be all in 2 days, but rather spread out over a week, because you can get screen fatigue from attending just hour upon hour of meetings and learning opportunities. As exciting as they are, it gets a little long. So just so you know, it will be virtual this year. A lot of things have gone virtual, and Speak Up, Speak Out Summit is joining the virtual training movement.
All right. All right, so speak up and speak out. There's a drawing of a yellow smiley face with his hand on his mouth and his eyes looking up with the words, "My next step," in the thought bubble. So what are your next steps? I'm just curious, what are you guys thinking of that? If you could kind of go in your chat box there and tell me what are ways that you guys are planning to have your advocacy meetings, or being able to somehow be in contact with your guys' advocates when it comes to like advocacy events and things like that. So what are some of your next steps? What do you guys think your meetings are going to look like? And maybe you don't know, and that's totally understandable.
All right. We have one person that says it's going to be interesting because not everybody will come back at the same time.
Yeah.
So we may have to do a combination of having a meeting, and then having some people on the phone, or having some people on using technology. But it's all going to be new. This is a new way of thinking about things. So thank you for that.
For sure, and and that is so true. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of just trial and error. And with everything ramping up, we don't know, what our days are going to look like from week to week. So, being just very flexible and not being hard on yourself, and knowing that you do your best, and that eventually this will all come out in the wash. Isn't that what the saying is? And eventually it's all going to kind of get back to a new kind of normal.
Yeah. And here's someone else who says we may have to hold the same meeting a couple of times. For example, we may not have a big enough space. So we may have to have just a couple self-advocates social distancing at a meeting. And then maybe the next day we go over the same agenda, but different self-advocates are in the meeting. We just don't know. We think that the first couple of weeks of going back is just going to be trying to get our feet under us and figuring out how things are going to go.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. And I don't know, like you said, how much on your advocates in your groups, how much technology they're able to use or have access to, but virtual meetings could definitely be a huge bonus thing to try for the first couple of months until everybody kind of figures out where they're all going and what they're all doing.
Yeah.
So but that's not always an option, and it's not always as easy as it sounds. A lot of our individuals, they may even have the technology, but may not be able to necessarily know how to work the email and do all that as well. So, there's a lot of the meetings are going to look different in every place.
Yeah, and here's another contribution. I'm also working on doing a combination of things. I'm currently working on calling the advocates to determine how I can explain to them how to use Zoom, if that makes sense. And yes, it does. The good old-fashioned telephone can come in handy.
Oh yeah, and too, there are a lot of things like on YouTube that you can go to that gives you a little video tutorial of how to use like Zoom or GoToMeetings and things like that. If you're not familiar yourself with that, and to be able to help someone else navigate it.
And this is Christine, and I will just add SABE, S-A-B-E, which stands for Self-Advocates Becoming Empowered. They have done a version 1 and a version 2 of the My Technology Handbook. And there's a written technology handbook, which is wonderful, and it goes over lots of things like Zoom and Google and GoToMeeting, but they also have a YouTube channel that shows some videos of some of this technology, and maybe that speaks to you, and maybe that speaks to advocates that you support. But again, as Tracey said, Mr. Google can be our friend in looking for ways that we can explain. Of course, if the advocates on the receiving end don't have access to technology, that maybe doesn't work as well as we might like.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm going to go on to the next slide, Tracey.
All right, so speak up and speak out. How can the Alliance support your self-advocacy efforts moving forward? So please let us know. You can always email me at traceyalliance@gmail.com, or email any of us if you like, and just let us know how we can support your self-advocacy groups. You know, I would be happy to sit in on some of the meetings virtually with, you know, to see how things are going, or help reach out and connect with people to kind of get some ideas going and bouncing around. So let me know. Maybe it would be something as far as having another advisor-only webinar to kind of help see where people are at in a couple of months from now, or what are you guys thinking? Let us know if there's any way that we can help you as you move forward in this crazy time. And as next, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted, before we end, if anybody has any questions, comments, or contributions that they want to share. We didn't have a specific screen or slide for that. But again, if you have any specific questions, comments, or contributions you want to share with the entire group, please go ahead and use your chat box to type that in, and we can read them out loud if you like and answer them. But before we do that, I just want to let folks know that Tracey has provided her email address, and the Alliance also has a general email address of info@selfadvocacyalliance.org. If you haven't visited our website in a while, check it out. Tara recently did a redo of the website, and you can find that at selfadvocacyalliance.org. But I'll let you know when you log on there. It takes a couple seconds for it to load because there's a lot more stuff happening on it. I've gotten some emails that say, your website isn't working. And I type back and say, give it a couple seconds to load. And then finally, if you are a Facebook user, you can find us and like us. Just search for Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. As Tracey mentioned, we do post every single day. Sometimes it's a learning or advocacy opportunity. Sometimes it's just some food for thought. But we do post every day, and sometimes on Saturdays and Sundays. And the image on the screen is a picture of a person with pink skin, short brown hair, raising the right hand in a fist. The person is wearing a purple shirt with the words, "Ask me about the Alliance," written in white. And Tracey, I don't see that anybody has shared any last minute questions, comments, or contributions, and that's okay. Sometimes we think of that information after our learning opportunity is over. So go ahead and you can email us those questions, comments, or contributions, but I'll let Tracey close us out.
All right, you guys. Well, once again, I think we are done with that, and I just want to give a shout out to each and every one of you. You you guys are doing a great job. I mean, this is like times that we've never seen before, and it is really requiring us to think outside the box, and for a lot of us to go outside of our comfort zone, and it can feel very chaotic at times and kind of feel like you're walking through mud, but you are making progress, you know, and I think you guys need to all take time to give yourself a big round of applause to realize that, you know, you guys are doing a great job. You really are. And hang in there, and let us know if there's anything we can do to help, or maybe any really good ideas that have really worked for you that would really help and benefit other advisors. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us today. And I hope that this maybe put some food for thought for you to think about, or maybe it gave you some more encouragement. So thank you so much for joining us.